Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of big business. And today we've got a juicy little amendment from NK Gen Biotech, Inc. It looks like they've been busy cooking up some new agreements, and we're here to spill the beans on what it all means. Before we dive in, if you are all about getting the real scoop from these corporate filings, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, have you joined our Discord community yet? It is linked in the description below, and it is where we break down all sorts of financial news and filings. Alright, so what we have here is a Form 8K, which is basically a report of major events that a company needs to announce to the public. Think of it as a company's breaking news alert to the stock market. This report comes to us from NK Gen Biotech Incorporated, a company based in Delaware, and it is filed with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, which is the government body that oversees the stock market. Every company that is publicly traded has to file these reports so everyone stays informed. Now, the main event here is about a financial agreement. Specifically, on the 12th of January 2026, NK Gen Biotech Incorporated and their subsidiary NK Gen Operating Biotech Incorporated entered into an amendment to a secured promissory note. That is a fancy way of saying they updated a loan agreement. This note is with a lender called Alpenebrook Capital GPI Limited. The original loan agreement was just a few days before, on the 5th of January 2026, but the key thing in this amendment is that the company is getting more money. They've secured an additional $295,000, which they're calling the second additional new loan. This bumps up the total principal amount of the note to a hefty $26,135,106. So they're definitely tapping into some significant funding. Now, here is a detail that matters for how interest is calculated. The original loan amount of $25,840,106 started accruing interest from the 5th of January, the date of the original note, but the new money, that $295,000, will start accruing interest from the 12th of January, the day this amendment was signed. This is pretty standard practice to make sure interest is only paid on the money you actually have. Okay, so this filing isn't exactly full of deep financial statements or profit and loss reports. It is more about a specific event. What we do see here are the classes of securities registered for trading. You've got common stock trading under the ticker symbol NKGen and warrants, which are like options to buy stock in the future. Trading under NKGNW, both are trading on the OTC expert market. One thing to note is that NK Gen Biotech Incorporated is identifying itself as an emerging growth company. This means they're a smaller company that gets to follow some lighter regulations compared to bigger, more established corporations. It also means they've elected to use extended transition periods for adopting new accounting standards, which is something to keep an eye on for future financial reporting. This section tells us what kind of stock the company has. They have common stock, which is basic ownership in the company, and warrants. The warrants are interesting because they give the holder the right to buy one share of common stock at a set price of $11.50 per share. This is important for investors as it can signal how the company views its future stock value. If they expect the stock to go much higher than 11.5, these warrants become more valuable. So really, the core of this report is about the company securing more funding through this updated loan. It shows they're actively managing their finances and possibly gearing up for expansion or to cover operating costs. This section simply confirms that the agreement we just talked about, the Secured Promissory Note Amendment, is a direct financial obligation for the company. It is not some kind of secret deal, it is a formal debt that they have to repay. And finally, under exhibits, we see the actual amendment to the Secured Promissory Note listed as Exhibit 10.1. This is the document that details all the specifics of the loan agreement and its changes. Now, let's put on our investor hats. What does this all mean on the surface? Borrowing more money, especially in the form of a secured note, suggests the company needs capital. This could be for research and development, expanding operations, or simply to bridge a gap in their cash flow. As an emerging growth company, they are likely seeking to fuel future growth. The fact that they are issuing more debt means they are willing to take on financial risk for potential future rewards. A couple of things to consider here. First, the total debt is now over $26 million. While this is a significant amount for a smaller company, we don't have the full picture of their assets or revenue in this particular filing to assess how heavily leveraged they are. We'd need to look at their full financial statements like a 10Q or a 10K for that. Second, the warrants that allow people to buy stock at 11.50 are a potential dilution event. If the stock price goes above 11.50, these warrants will likely be exercised, meaning more shares will be issued, which can reduce the ownership percentage of existing shareholders. This is a common practice, but it is something investors should always be aware of, looking at the bigger picture. NK Gen Biotech operates in the biotechnology sector, which is known for its high costs and long development cycles. Companies in this space often rely heavily on external funding. So, securing new loans is not necessarily a red flag, but it does highlight the ongoing need for capital in their industry. The success of these loans ultimately depends on the company's ability to develop and commercialize their products effectively, turning this debt into growth rather than just a burden. So, what is our take? This filing shows NK Gen Biotech Incorporated is actively managing its financial needs and securing capital to potentially fuel its growth. While the debt level is something to watch, it is a common necessity in the biotech industry. The key for investors will be to track the company's progress in developing its technology and generating revenue to service this debt and create value for shareholders. Alright, that is our breakdown of NK Gen Biotech's latest filings. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.